Hi everyone, I'm Silvolf, and I wasn't really sure what to do for today's video, so I decided to do a get to know me better video. So I'm going to tell you a few things about myself, so that you can get to know me better. It's nothing like massively personal or anything like that. It's just a few interesting little things I thought people might like to know. So I've written a list, so this is what I'm going to be reading from, and we'll see how it goes. So, things that I love. Live wrestling. I go and see the local shows. I'm friends with a lot of the wrestlers as well. They're all really nice people. They're all massively geeky. Pretty much most of them are. So it's always a fun night, and it allows me to get out the stress by yelling and booing and all sorts of things at the wrestlers. So that's a fun thing I like to do. I also enjoy urban exploring, which is where you go to an abandoned place and take photos. I've been to a few abandoned places. My dream is to go to like an abandoned hospital or something, but I have been to a hotel, which was pretty cool. I also explored a place in Canada, which was a water park, and I've done a few smaller explores as well. And there was one that I did where we couldn't actually get in because my friend took a month to get back to me, and by the time he got back to me, the place had been boarded back up and we couldn't get in, so that was a bit disappointing. But that was a factory. So there's not too many abandoned places around here, but I do keep an eye open and go and explore them when I can. I also enjoy walking. It's always fun. There's loads of places to walk around where I live, and it's good exercise as well. So I can just wander and listen to my music, and I enjoy doing that. Or walking with my partner as well. We like going for walks together, or with my friends. It's always fun. I once wrote a furbished dictionary. I was going to do a video on it. I found it while I was going through some things. I wrote it when I was like, well, I don't know how old I was, but I was a kid, because obviously Furbies were out. So yeah, I was a kid, and it was actually quite good. And I'm really gutted I can't find it anymore. I still have it. I must have put it away somewhere. And yeah, I'm just absolutely gutted that I cannot find it. So I will look. I will keep looking for it. If I come across it, I'll definitely do a video on it because I illustrated it and everything. It was surprisingly good, and I think that's why I kept it. The official Furby account follows me on TikTok. They just found, I think it was a video I did of all my Furbies one time, and they followed me, and they have shared a couple of my videos on their TikTok as well, so they often like my videos, which is nice. My first robot was a remote controlled Dachshund, so a sausage dog, and it was given to me by my aunt, and she was a chain smoker, and she had it when she was a kid, so it was very, very old, and I still have it. It takes big chunky batteries, and the remote control is attached to it by a wire. I did a video on this robot. I think I did have robots before then, but they were like simple things like, you know, those little rabbits that hop along and then do backflips, things like that. And I seem to remember I had like a Roger Rabbit on a skateboard, which would probably be worth a lot of money now. I think I sold it on eBay years ago, but I'm not sure how much I got for it. But it would probably be worth even more now. So I should have really kept hold of it, but it was quite large, so we ended up selling it. I've owned many pets throughout my life. When I was a kid, we had 3 dogs. My mum had finches. We had lorikeets. We had parakeets. We had things called hanging parrots, which are little parrots that hang upside down. We had spectacled parrotlets. We've had 2 dwarf macaws, a noble macaw and a yellow-collared macaw. My dad also had like a small parrot as well. When I was very little, she was awful. She like literally bit everyone except for him. She was not very friendly. I can't remember what sort of parrot she was though. I used to breed canaries when I was a kid, and I'd take them to the pet shop and sell them. I bred guinea pigs. I used to show guinea pigs. We used to have people come round to buy the baby guinea pigs, but we'd make sure that they were suitable to actually have a pet guinea pig. Like sometimes someone would come around with their kids and they would be like, oh yeah, you know, get a guinea pig for the kids. And we'd ask them questions and stuff, and sometimes they'd actually go away and they'd be like, no, actually, you know what, a guinea pig isn't really suitable for us. And I felt good that I was at least trying to get them into good homes, you know, rather than just selling them willy-nilly, which would have been a shame if they'd have just been stuck in a hutch outside and forgotten about. So, yeah, we did actually, you know, ask some questions. There is a word for it, but I can't remember. To make sure that they all went to good homes. We had 2 cats when I was growing up. We had another dog, and of course the macaws. For the longest time, we had 2 cats, a dog, and a macaw, and then the guinea pigs. I've had rats. I've had hamsters. I've never had a rabbit. What others have I had? We had a newt once. A little newt that Mum found in the garden. I did also try and rescue mice that the cats had caught when I was a kid, and I tried to save them, but they were always too shocked and stuff, and they just died, and it was really sad because I really wanted to save them, but it just didn't really work out. Yeah, we had a lot of pets. I think that's all of them. So yeah, we actually bred lorikeets when I was a kid too. And my mum used to breed dogs, but that was before I was born. She used to breed Shih Tzu dogs. So the countries I've been to loads of countries. I've been to America 3 times. I've been to Italy. I've been to Egypt, South Africa, Canada. I've been to Spain. I've been to Tunisia, Lanzarote, Turkey. I've been to Turkey twice. I've been to Northern Ireland, but I haven't been to Southern Ireland. My family's from Southern Ireland, so I'd love to visit them one day. We have a massive clan, and if you go to our little village where they're all from, you just ask at the pub and they'll all come. They'll all just turn up. That's what my uncle did. He went there and he asked for them and they just turned up. And our clan is so big that it is actually, well, our name, I suppose, is so big that we have been split into smaller clans, and the graveyard is absolutely full of various, I think they're all sectioned into different parts, different clans of us all. So yeah, we have a massive family over there, and I'd like to visit. And I'd like to go to Japan. I'd love to go to Australia. Japan and Australia are my 2 big ones. I don't know if I'll ever have enough money to go to them. I've got friends who've been to Japan several times, and I'm just like, how do you manage it? Just do you have to just save all the time and never spend any money? Do you have really good jobs? I don't know. It's just to go to Japan is at least £3,000 per person, and that's without spending money. So if I had 5 grand, yeah, sure, of course, I'd go to Japan. But I don't. So it's a dream. I'd also like to go on a cruise one day. That sounds fun as well. Like to the Norway or something, Norwegian cruise. I'm just looking through the list. I was interviewed for a documentary last year about robots, AI companion robots, robotic pets. Nothing ever came of it. It was a documentary for a TV channel over here. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but I did message the person who did the interview, and unfortunately have never received a reply since. And I'm gutted because literally they came and interviewed me at a convention I went to. It was Hyper Japan convention in London, and I was so excited. They actually interviewed one of my friends as well. They went to her home and interviewed her. And nothing ever came of it. And I'm like, but it was greenlit. But then, of course, that you can do all of this and you can do the filming and everything like that, and it still may not get done. And again, it's just really sad. I've had several kind of brushes with being on TV or doing something to do with media, and it's always fallen through, usually because of money. When I was younger, I had the opportunity. They were going to write an episode of a cartoon series based on a story I'd thought of. Because I had a fan site for this, and I was in touch with the people who worked on the show, and you won't have heard of it. It's called Bounty Hamster. And yeah, there was one fan art that I did, and they're like, oh my god, we would totally do an episode of that. And then the show got cancelled because there was too many people, there was too many production companies, and the money was spread out. And I think the New Zealand production company ran off with the money, from what I remember. It was way, way, way back now. But yeah, that was kind of sad. And it seems that every time I get a chance like that, something happens to stop it, and it's just disappointing. I'm glad I have YouTube, because at least I get to do something. I mean, it's as close as I'll get to being on TV, I suppose. I've published 2 books, 2 fantasy novels. A lot of people probably know this. I don't really talk about it that much, which is stupid, really. The first one took me 10 years. I started it when I was in 6th form, and then finished it. I literally took a break for about 7 years because stuff happened in my life, and I went through a few things. I just didn't write it, and then I got back into it again. And the second book took me a year because I had this job and it was a very quiet job. It was at a DVD rental shop, and I wrote the book while I was at work. So, I just sat there typing it up on the computer, and that's what happened. I'd like to do a third one as well. It's supposed to be a trilogy. It's called it's the Griffey Saga. That's what it is. It's a fantasy series about these creatures. Yeah, a third one. I've been racking my brain to try to think of a story for the third one. I've got a rough idea, but I don't want it to be like a copy of the first one. So the first one's about war, about one species wanting to be in control of the other. And there's another species as well who doesn't really want anything to do with any of it. And it's something I want to sort of involve them for the third book. And yeah, it's just trying to work out what I need to do. Also, I'd have to read through the first and second one again because I haven't read them for a while, and I'm a bit rusty, I suppose, on some of the things that I wrote. One thing, if you're going to write a book, put down notes per chapter, and put like a bullet point section, like, different things that are going to happen in each chapter. You can look back on it then, and you'll always have a reference and know roughly what happens in each chapter of the book. It's always useful. So that's really my tip if you want to write a novel, because the longer it is, the more it takes to keep the continuity there. I've been an artist all my life, ever since I could pick up a pencil. My dad's an engineer, my mum's an artist, and the creativity just kind of, I inherited it, I guess. I started drawing cartoons and whatnot when I was a kid. I watched a lot of cartoons on TV. I used to pause the VCR and copy what I saw on the television to learn how to draw better from the old cartoons in the 90s and stuff. And yeah, it's just something I've always done. I love drawing. I also like programming as well. There was a few games called Pets by PF Magic. They're not in any way associated with the ones that were released on the DS. They were PC games, and they were dogs and cats, and they also did oddballs and babies. And I think they may have done another one, but I can't remember now. But you can actually, by changing the numbers in the files for these dogs and cats and things, you could make your own. You could change the shape of them. They were made up of like circles, and you could change the shape of them, and you could even change the sounds they made as well. And I did a few of my own ones. One's based on Mewtwo from Pokemon, and one's based on Invader Zim. I did a few of the Invader Zim characters as well as dogs, which is quite funny. Yeah, I enjoy things like that, technology, programming. If I've got a problem with my computer, I can usually fix it. The internet is a fantastic place for resources, so if you can't do it yourself, you can always look online, and you can find out the answer. It's taken me a lot sometimes, but yeah, it's very, very, very useful, because chances are someone will have had a similar issue to you, so it's easy to do. I also enjoy cosplaying. I really cosplay male characters. I've done Gambit from X-Men, and that is X-Men Evolution because it's easy because he wears a trench coat, so I've cosplayed him. I've cosplayed Vicus from a film called District 9. He's a man who turns into an alien, so he's got like an alien hand and stuff. That was one I was quite proud of because I made this alien hand with liquid latex over like a glove, and I was really proud of that because it was the first time I'd tried it. Someone on DeviantArt had done the similar, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll have a go at that. So I used this liquid latex and I painted it and everything. It looked really good. It looked really, really creepy, and I remember scaring some trick-or-treaters one Halloween with it. I've also cosplayed Quicksilver from one of the X-Men movies. It had just come out as well, so loads of people wanted my photo, so I was happy about that. And Kurtz from Freephonics, who no one will have heard of. I'm the only person, as far as I'm aware, in the world who actually cosplays Kurtz. I don't know of anyone else who cosplays him. My friend Bella cosplays his sister, Lady Lux, and we have done cosplays together before as well. I've made friends. This is going to be a weird thing. So what's the weirdest way that you've made friends with someone? The weirdest way in which you have come together with another person and been like, yeah, we're friends. We're friends now because of this strange thing that happened. So the first one, I made friends with a bass player from an Australian band who came down and played in our local bar. I was there, listening and dancing and everything, and I was off to one side as well. And he flicked his guitar pick into the audience. And he wasn't anywhere near me. He was at the centre of the stage, he was off to the left of me. And it hit me on the head. And afterwards I'm like, your guitar pick hit me on the head. And we've been friends ever since. Which is bizarre. It's a very strange way to make friends. And also, how on earth did it reach me? I was all the way over the other side. So, yeah, it's just odd that it kind of ricocheted off things and smacked me in the face. So that was funny. I've also been hit by a drumstick as well. My drummer friend, his stick snapped while he was playing on stage, and it whacked me. So that was fun. I've also almost been whacked in the face with someone's bass guitar as well, when he was swinging it about and I was a bit close. And the other strange way I made friends with someone, I was already kind of friends with him. He's a wrestler, and they say wrestling isn't real. Well, it is. It's all storyline, obviously, but the injuries they get are very real. And this was a local show, and another wrestler, this guy was lying on his back in the corner of the ring. The other wrestler got to the top rope and he jumped down on him, but he landed badly and he crushed his face, and so his jaw broke in like 2 or 3 places. And I saw, literally in slow motion, his teeth flying across the ring. And I'm like, is that his teeth? What's going on here? And he covered his face and he ran out of the ring. Because, of course, you know, it was a bit messy. And I found one of his teeth under my seat. So I gave it to the guy there was someone actually going around trying to find his teeth. And I gave it to this person. And some of the audience hadn't actually seen what happened. So they never actually, unfortunately, put the teeth in milk. If you lose a tooth, put it in milk and it helps it to sort of like live a bit longer. So he did lose the teeth, unfortunately. He's going to get implants, but he said, when I retire from wrestling, I'll get implants, but not until then, in case I lose them again. So we're actually quite good friends now because I found his tooth. So that's another strange way to make friends. My first ever games console was a Nintendo 64. I was not really into playing video games as a kid. I used to play them around my friends' houses, but that was it. And I got the N64 because I wanted Pokemon Stadium, and I wanted to be able to play because it had like a cartridge sort of thing you could put your game cartridges in. If you wanted to play red or blue, or I think yellow as well, you could play it through the TV using your game controller on the N64, and then import your Pokemon from your game into the Pokemon Stadium. And I wanted Mewtwo, and the only way you could get Mewtwo on Pokemon Stadium, because they were like rental Pokemon, but it didn't include him, so I basically ran through the game, because I'd played it a few times, and so I knew. I got him and then put him in the game, and so... Another funny thing that happened with Pokemon Stadium was my friend and I played it once, and we both had Mewtwo's. And in the end, we ran out of attacks, and we were just using Recover all the time until the Pokemon passed out, so that was a long game. But yeah, the N64 was my first console. I now I've had many more since, and from the Game Boy Advance onwards, I've had all the new Nintendo ones that have come out, except for the Wii U, because apparently that wasn't very good. And finally, my favourite game of all time is Twinson's Odyssey. It's Little Big Adventure 2, Twinson's Odyssey, and I think it came out in 92. Obviously, I didn't have it in 92. I got it years later. We bought a PC in 99, and it was one of the games included, and I absolutely adored it, and I still adore it, and I've played it like 6 times. It's one of the very first... It was one of the first, I don't know exactly, but it was one of the first particular type of 3D rendered games that was ever released, and it was a French game originally. But yeah, the soundtrack, the game, whenever I play it, I get a huge sense of nostalgia. I'm not really into sort of going back to old games and sort of like playing them, unless it's a game I really enjoyed, and I really, really love that game. It's such a good game. And they have done a remake of the first in the series, which was Relentless, but I don't think they've done one of the second game, and I'm really hoping the first one sells well, because I want them to do a remake of the second game so badly. I did play Relentless, but you couldn't actually save it. You had to get to a save point, and there was one part of the game I got stuck on, and I kept on falling into lava or something, and respawning. So yeah, I just gave up in the end, because I like a challenge, but with a video game. But if it's too much, it's like not fun anymore, you know. And I just kind of leave it. Although I do get my partner to do it because he's quite good with certain things. So I want to replay Stray. Actually, I've got to the part where these little whatever they are, they're following you around, and you've got to run around until the elevator comes down. And they keep getting me before the elevator has reached the bottom. And I just ended up giving up. But I'd like to replay it because I didn't have a proper look around the area where the robots are. And there is loads of stuff I didn't find. So that's for that reason. I'd like to replay it and explore it properly. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I haven't bored you too much with facts about myself and things I've done. So yeah, that's all for now. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep being awesome. This is Silverwolf signing off.